do you say there, fellow movie collectors? That's right, I know it's all of you coming here to vindicate your collecting hobby, and I'm here to fulfill your need for validation. In the age of streaming services and digital downloads, we physical media lovers are often asked why we bother with this tradition. And while there are plenty of videos online talking about this already, I figured I'd throw in my 2 cents. I really got into collecting DVDs about halfway through high school, and it was only right after I graduated in 2011 that my family decided to get Netflix. And for my American viewers, you may recall that at that time, Netflix had just about everything you could want to watch. I remember looking up so many movies that I wanted to check out but didn't own, and I finally got to scratch a lot of those itches. Side note, Netflix used to have this feature where if it didn't have the movie you were looking for, it would suggest similar movies. And at one point, I tried searching for Schindler's List, an important film both in terms of history and filmmaking. And I got the message reading, that title is currently unavailable, but try these similar titles. And I kid you not, the very first movie it recommended to me was Father of the Bride Part 2. I'm sorry, I'm trying to connect the dots, but... Okay, moving on. So after watching all these movies I never got to watch before, I thought to myself, wait a minute, Netflix has so many big name and obscure movies, is there even a point in owning all these physical discs? From there, I searched name by name and found that, yeah, a lot of the movies I owned physically were also on Netflix. And with DVDs getting scratched and being unsalvageable after that, I question if I should even bother letting that movie shelf take up space, let alone buy anything else. Of course, we all know that since then, movies are streaming on a number of different services, and for so many of us, it's just not practical to subscribe to all of them. So was this the straw that finally broke the camel's back? Was it only after Netflix lost so many of its titles that I returned to my collecting hobby? Actually, no. Even before this happened, I kept buying physical media, and I continue to do so today. My reasons are multifaceted. One of the most obvious reasons, though, is all the bonus material. Like I've said before, I wanted to be a director back in the day, so all the making of documentaries, short film extras, and cast and crew commentaries are a huge reason to buy physical media. So much of my appreciation for film and film production has grown from learning on-set stories. And sure, a lot of this I can read online, but there's something so much more enchanting about seeing either the people who were there or the film historians who interviewed them tell these stories. For example, I've got this Frankenstein box set, and the included documentary has this little story that I love to share with people.
But when he did pick up Marilyn and throw her into the lake, she didn't sink. He said, "I'll give you anything you want if you'll do this scene over again." And Marilyn said, "All right, I know what I want, a dozen hard-boiled eggs," because her mother always had her on a diet. So, sure enough, Boris Karloff threw her again into the lake. Later, she received her present from James Whale. It was 24 hard-boiled eggs.
Now, the great irony here is that I pulled that clip from the internet, so even many of these bonus features can be found online. So maybe I'm kicking into my own goal and defeating my own argument. But I would say that we should be showing appreciation to where this bonus material came from. And it's not like all this stuff can be found online for free. So there's argument number 1. But don't worry, I've got more for you. Last summer, I was mowing my lawn, and I guess I got a little too close to a wire, and our internet was out for the weekend. Now, all you bozos out there who have given up on physical media and have entrusted your entertainment needs to streaming services would be lost in such a situation. But not this guy. Sure, when the power goes out entirely, then we're all up the creek without a paddle. But if it's just the internet, you know I'm still prepared. But even when the internet isn't totally out, sometimes it may be on the fritz.
Putting on the Ritz.
Yeah, maybe the streaming is loading slowly, or maybe the image is getting pixelated. A number of issues can come up. Sure, DVDs and even Blu-rays can get scratched, but if you take care of them, you should be good to go. Now, before I go all nostalgic and sentimental on you, I'll give you one more practical reason to love physical media. Like I said at the beginning, Netflix at one point had a huge catalog, but now everything is split up depending on which streaming service holds the rights at any given time. And that's right, I said at any given time. Max will likely hold on to all the WB material, and you know Disney Plus has a stranglehold on its property. But I've seen so many properties jump from one streaming service to another that sometimes it's nice just to know that I've got it at my beck and call. For example, I feel like this happened a lot to Parks and Recreation, or at least enough that we grabbed this box set when we found it at one of our local secondhand shops. Alright, so I just gave you a good couple of practical reasons to hold on to your DVDs and Blu-rays. But I did give you the warning that I was gonna get sentimental on you, so here we go. For people around my age, we all have the nostalgic memories of the video store. For me, it was Blockbuster with friends and immediate family, and Hollywood Video when I would spend weekends with my grandfather. Funny enough though, a friend of mine who's a little older than me hated all these big chains because they drove out all the local mom and pop stores, which are the stores that captured his heart as a child. But that's neither here nor there. We all have our childhood memories, and these places were a big part of mine. Real talk, anytime I see this joke-scented candle, all I can say is,
I'll take your entire stock!
But okay, while my collection is nowhere near that of James Rolfe or many other collectors, I do have everything sorted by genre and alphabetized within each genre. Sure, a big part of that is just my obsession with organization, but I can't help but think a deeper part of it is a love for those old video store memories and trying to recreate it in my own little way. Just my own personal love letter to those childhood memories. And hey, I would like to end on a positive note that we collectors have reason to be hopeful. Sure, a few big retailers have stopped carrying physical movies, but speaking for myself, I love going to the secondhand shops and there's always the option to order online. And there are plenty of specialty companies keeping the tradition alive. The Criterion Collection and Shout Factory both come to mind. And I'm seeing a lot of stories about a resurgence, and even if it's not a massive one, I've got the inclination that physical media is going to be around for a
Long time.
Alrighty, before I sign off, I want to pose a question to my fellow collectors. You probably noticed that the examples I gave from my collection included both DVDs and Blu-rays. So where do you stand on the argument that DVDs are totally obsolete and should be replaced? For me, while I almost exclusively buy Blu-rays anymore, I'm in no rush to upgrade all my DVDs. Really, the only time I do so is when I notice one is damaged and starts skipping. Then I'll get the Blu-ray. Otherwise, the picture quality doesn't entice me to drop the money for it. But hey, did I miss any major reasons to keep up with physical media? Why do you love this tradition? Share your thoughts in the comments. I've been Kenny Steps. Take it easy, and keep stepping into the movies.